Panic at Seattle's center after gunfire erupted at the popular Bite of Seattle festival, sending thousands fleeing for cover. 3 were killed and 1 person has been arrested, but this morning the search is on for a second shooter.
It was chaotic at first. A lot of people didn't realize what was happening. I mean, if you've never heard gunshots before, they may just sound like small pops.
Witnesses describe what it was like when a moment of celebration turned into a nightmare for those present. Hear their stories as they sought safety from the gunfire at Seattle Center.
I can't imagine being the parent of a 2-year-old toddler, for example, who's injured in a shooting like this. But for everybody who's impacted, our hearts go out to them.
And this morning, 4 people, including that toddler, remain in the hospital after they were caught in the gunfire, leaving their families hoping for their recovery.
We have team coverage following the latest on the deadly shooting at Seattle Center. King 5's Farah Jadron is tracking the investigation and the latest from police, while Savannah Welch is outside Harborview Medical Center, where most of the victims are being cared for this morning.
Thanks for being with us on this Monday morning. There is a lot to get to. I'm Jake Wittenberg.
And I'm Christine Pei in for Mimi Jung. The city is still reeling from a deadly shooting that happened last night. This morning, you can see the flag on top of the Space Needle now sits at half-staff.
Yeah, thousands were gathered for the annual Bite of Seattle festival when shots rang out. We spoke to witnesses who ran from the gunfire.
First, everyone was running, but then I listened real closely and you could hear just this loud pop.
What happened here today at the Seattle Center was an unbelievable tragedy and a horrific act of violence.
At this hour, Seattle police have 1 person in custody, but another shooter remains at large.
Let's get to King 5's Farah Jadron live at Seattle Center, where this happened last night, just outside the Armory and Climate Pledge Arena. Farah, what are you seeing there this morning?
Yeah, well, you can see remnants of Bite of Seattle, all of the vendor tents, a lot of food and equipment still left behind. There's remnants of the crime tape here. You can see some of the food left behind over there, and then a stroller possibly left in the chaos. But it's a crowded event. A lot of people come to this event every year. It's one of Seattle Center's largest events, and security has asked us to stay off the ground, so we're a little bit of a ways down from the Armory. But we do know that Seattle police were nearby, right where that shooting happened. Police say 2 people started firing at each other. Take a look at this video. It's from a vendor booth, and it shows you some of that initial panic. People start to run for cover. Others are looking back, not running, possibly out of confusion of what was actually happening. Many witnesses told King 5 they thought they were hearing fireworks at first, but quickly realized it was gunfire.
When it started shooting, when everyone started running, everyone got scared. I mean, pushing each other, running over signs. I mean, the booth where we were at got like kind of almost demolished. And by the time it kind of settled down, people were panicking. You can see people like shaking up.
Then when the crowd started moving quickly in herds, you knew something was happening. So we got down and took cover.
Now, 2 people died at the scene. 1 more person died from their injuries at Harborview. This event, again, as we said, it's huge, estimating about 100,000 people visiting every day. And yesterday was the final day of the event. Now, right now, Seattle police say they've recovered 2 guns from this shooting. They have 1 person in custody. They're looking for at least 1 other person, but there's possibly more people that they're looking for. Stay with us here on King 5. In the next half hour, you're going to hear from a man who was trying to run for cover for himself, but he stopped to help others get out of the way of any danger. Live in Seattle, Farah Jadron, King 5 News.
I cannot imagine what that was like. Thank you, Farah. We'll get back to you. Savannah Welch is at Harborview, where multiple people are recovering this morning, including that 2-year-old boy. Savannah, what's the latest?
Jake, of the 4 people transported here to Harborview, 3 people are recovering this morning, including that toddler, and 1 person has since died from their injuries. We've reached out to Harborview this morning for an update on how they're doing, but what we know so far is Harborview confirmed that those who were taken to the hospital all came in with gunshot wounds. A 2-year-old boy, a 23-year-old man, and a 39-year-old woman are now in satisfactory condition. A 56-year-old woman died here at the hospital. Another victim who was shot arrived at UW Medical Center last night. Harborview was placed on a modified lockdown as a safety precaution for the victims, and a large police presence was seen here outside the hospital Sunday night. Police say 2 other people died at the event, a 19-year-old man and a 44-year-old man, and that brings the total number of deaths to 3 here. Governor Bob Ferguson addressed the public from Seattle Center late last night about the tragedy. Take a listen.
Any shooting like this is senseless. I think it's magnified for an event like this, and so all of us, our hearts go out to everybody who's impacted by this. I can't imagine being the parent of a 2-year-old toddler, for example, who's injured in a shooting like this, but for everybody who's impacted, our hearts go out to them.
Now, we're also hearing from the hospital this morning about those victims as they're continuing to recover here this morning. We'll bring you the latest from hospital leaders coming up in the next half hour. Reporting in Seattle, Savannah Welch, King 5 News.
Thank you, Savannah. Seattle Police Assistant Chief Tyrone Davis says several officers rushed toward the gunfire as soon as the shots broke out. He said officers on scene were able to immediately confront the shooter and stop them from hurting others.
Thankfully, we had officers on the scene that were brave, went to those shots, and prevented more victims from being injured.
Video from a business at Bite of Seattle shows 7 SPD officers responding. This clip from Masay's Teriyaki also shows the moments shots were fired and people started scrambling. It's just difficult to watch. Davis also said they have never had issues with the event in recent years.
If you're familiar with Seattle Center, this happened just east of Climate Pledge and feet from the International Fountain right outside the Armory. And as Farah mentioned, it was just packed with people yesterday. Bite of Seattle is just one of the premier events in Seattle, and it's important to note it's a public event. There's no in and out for security entrances or exits. It's just wide open. The public comes and goes and eats at all these vendors. It is one of the just premier events, as I mentioned. The chief of police pointed out, yes, there was an officer that confronted the shooter right away, but also important to note they're at Seattle Center. The mayor said there are no cameras fixed on that area outside the Armory where the shooting happened.
The Seattle monorail, which takes you directly to Seattle Center, will be back open today. It was closed last night after police shut it down to investigate the area and the shooting. They are scheduled to again reopen this morning at 7:30. Meanwhile, the Pacific Science Center, which is also at Seattle Center, canceled their showtimes last night. They will be closed again throughout the day today. Guests who purchase tickets will be automatically refunded.
We'll have complete coverage, as you can imagine, all day here on King 5, and we'll be streaming live updates on our King 5 app. Download for free and watch now.